Well, thanks for coming to the discussion about the undergraduate certificates that we're rolling out today. So first, what is a certificate? Certificates are focused, as the dean mentioned, for four sectors: energy, hospitality, real estate, and sports management. I think our expectation is that a student would pursue one of those certificates, even if they're interested in all of those areas. Each program, though, is focused on delivering industry-specific skills, building on foundational expertise you've developed through your business curriculum. So why should you do a certificate? Again, alluding to the prior conversation from the dean, whatever your foundational skill set is in business school, you're going to apply it in some industry. And what we find is that by getting those skills, knowledge, and frankly, the language of those industries, the trajectory of your career path is accelerated. So it's personally rewarding to the student to pursue a certificate and gain those skills. It also translates into communicating to employers that you have an interest in the area and that you have some knowledge base. So it begins to narrow some of the recruiting process as well. I think that's pretty helpful. They are very flexible. They're time efficient. We're talking about 4 courses over the course of 4 years. And they've been thoughtfully structured to build on each one of the areas so that as you progress, you end with some type of capstone covering a combination of skills you've learned for the certificate in that industry, plus you build on your foundational skills in business. So why an energy certificate? Well, jobs. Clearly, that is why everybody comes to Tulane, Freeman Business School, is to create a career path for themselves. Energy is a great career path. And in a second, I'm going to turn it over to Laura and she'll talk about her career path. Traditional energy efficiency and motor vehicle jobs grow 50% faster than the rest of the economy, as there's a decoupling from energy growth and job growth. And as the International Energy Agency's World Energy Outlook report notes, that energy jobs are typically higher paying jobs. So lots of opportunities, highly compensated, and a tremendous amount of growth. Energy is ubiquitous, to use a word. It's in everything you do. So I think you step back and say, how can I get involved in energy even in another particular area? Well, you're either moving, making, or you're managing energy in some way. We're making conventional or renewable energy. That's what we learn about through the courses in our certificate. You're moving energy. It's not always produced in the area where it's being consumed. So we might be trading it. We do a lot of focus on commodity power trading. So you're trading energy, you're also transporting energy. Very important to get energy from where it's being produced to where it's being consumed. Huge business in that area. And then managing energy. And that one initially, people might say, I'm going to work for maybe a tech company. Many tech companies have VP of energy efficiency, VP of energy transition. And regardless of any business you're in, energy is a cost component, and you could be managing that cost component, or you could be working to decrease the emissions associated with the energy that your company is using. So make it, move it, manage it, and make a difference. The other interesting thing, particularly about the generation that's coming into business school right now, is a real inflection point in energy, the concepts and the future of what people think about energy. So the International Renewable Energy Agency would estimate $115 trillion to be spent in the energy transition between now and 2050. The gross domestic product of the planet is only $90 trillion a year. I mean, this is significant. Translates into a lot of business jobs, right? Because a lot of investment, a lot of management of those investments, and a lot of management of the expenses, but the transition in and of itself. So the same World Energy Outlook would say that there's tremendous growth in energy employment on the horizon. driven a lot by this energy transition investment to decarbonize. The other thing about energy is it is absolutely very hands-on. It's very experiential. It's physical. You see it, you get involved in it. We're going to sites. This is a solar facility that Entergy has set up close by, which we toured. This is our trading room where we're actually trading commodities real time and or trading power real time. And we work a lot of projects that are industry driven, real time. What can we do to solve your energy transition issue? So very much of a hands-on and experiential. And why energy at Tulane and why at Freeman? We are in a pretty unique spot. So let's say you wanted to get involved in energy right here in New Orleans. We're a center and focal point of the energy transition business. More than a quarter of the gross domestic product of this state is in traditional upstream oil and gas and downstream energy processing. And yet we're also one of the lowest lying states. We are susceptible to storms, damage. So we are also looking to take advantage of the capital that's coming. So it's a perfect focal point here. And I like to say often that Tulane is exactly the right size institution. So you've come to the right place, right? We're not too big. Nothing wrong with big, large state schools, but we're not too small, but we're just right, as they say. So there is a Tulane graduate in over 90% of Fortune 500 energy companies, one of which is going to speak to us in a second. And there's a Freeman graduate in 2/3 of Fortune 500 energy companies. So there's a connectivity. And that's, again, to that point of the right size. When you call someone and say, hey, I went to Freeman, they would say, yes. And did you have Professor Connor? Yeah, I remember him. So I think that the size is good. And the synergies about where we are important. And all of that is not even including all the supporting organizations. So it's been mentioned about investment banking. So these are Fortune 500 energy companies. But of course, there's a tremendous amount of consulting in energy. There's service companies supplying a lot of the energy producers. There's accounting, there's investment banking. So there's a lot more that's energy related even that builds on that. And there are Tulane and Freeman and energy graduates in all of that. So a lot of good connectivity to have. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Laura. And she's going to talk about her experience and her career. And I will tell you that I think this certificate can help you build that pathway that someone successful in this field has done. So, Shira, make sense?
I'm gonna just fix this right quick.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor Connor. And I didn't get a chance to introduce you, but Professor Connor is the director of our Tulane Energy Institute. So happy to have you and your wealth of knowledge. And I'm excited to bring up Laura Beecham, who is the Director of Resources Planning and Market Operations for Entergy. So thank you so much for being here, Laura.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And, I'm very passionate about the energy industry. So a little background about me. I went to the Freeman School, have a concentration in finance. I finished here in 2000. While I was at the Freeman School, I was extraordinarily fortunate to get offered an internship opportunity with Entergy. I wasn't quite sure what that meant or what I'd be doing. I had a fantastic summer and they offered me a full-time position. They also then offered me an opportunity to do my MBA here at the Freeman School while I was employed full-time. And so nothing made me happier than to come back to Freeman, but certainly it was a fantastic opportunity that my employer offered me. So who is Entergy? So I want to tell you just a little bit about us so you understand how we play in the energy market. We are a vertically integrated public utility, Fortune 500 company, and we serve electricity to 3 million customers here in the Gulf South. and again, so my career, I started in accounting, definitely was not something I thought I would enjoy, but I found that in accounting at a utility really enabled me to understand the entirety of the energy industry, because who are our customers here in the Deep South? They are the largest energy producers and energy companies in the entire world. So I had to learn about their value stream, their supply chain, their business in order to understand, why do they want electricity from me? I was able to then move into corporate planning, corporate finance, doing a lot of work on M&A transactions, and then did a bit of a career shift and went into regulatory policy. Something I certainly never expected to do in my career as a business major, become a subject matter expert on policy and how tariffs are designed to buy and sell electricity. And that's something I still continue to do in my current path. I went back to finance for a bit, few more stints in regulatory, and then I truly took an abrupt left turn and went to innovation. And those of you who know anything about a regulated monopoly, you say, what is this Innovation Institute? And it was completely eye-opening for me on how do we embark on this energy transition? How do we get EVs into our system? How do we serve them on the grid? How do we create new demand-side management programs? What constitutes innovation? Because it's not necessarily a product, it may be a rate structure. And so I did that for a year and led a team. And then about 2.5 years ago, again, another, maybe shift back to the right of, hey, come lead our resource planning and market operations team. That's a mouthful. And what that means is we are the long-term strategy in the state of Louisiana. What's your generation strategy? Are you building gas? Are you retiring coal? Are you building solar? Is there an opportunity for wind? And also transmission strategy. If you're reading any of the articles today, people, there's every single day there's an article talking about transmission. How do you introduce renewables to the grid? How do you serve this power? And transmission is going to be the linchpin to that. So my team is focused on that, and then focused on the transition from our gas heavy portfolio. About 73% of our portfolio is natural gas today in the state of Louisiana. And we will be at 50% of our portfolio net zero or clean resources, a combination of solar and nuclear by the end of this decade. So it's a massive transition that we're undertaking right now. So I can talk all day about utilities and I'm happy to do that. But I want to talk about what does it really mean from an energy perspective in the US. The US will be, and not just the US, the Gulf South will be the global leaders in the energy transition. If carbon capture and sequestration is going to be solved in our lifetime, it's going to be solved in Louisiana because the geological aspects of our state that allows us to capture the or to store the carbon. But also if you look at the infrastructure available and the talent we have, the state in the Gulf South has built the energy industry globally, right? This has been sort of the lifeblood of that innovation. And so there's a lot that's going to be happening here. And globally, the unrest, energy insecurity that exists in parts of the world is really enabling the Gulf South to be the premier place to come site industry. And this industry is the green, blue, pink, every color of the rainbow, hydrogen facilities. It's going to be the ammonia. It's going to be companies looking to capture, do carbon sequestration. So there's a lot of opportunity. All these processes need electricity. We all know the Exxon Mobils and the Shells and BASFs of the world, all the chemical oil manufacturing. But and Pierre touched on this a little bit. What you don't think about when you think about energy companies is Meta, Microsoft, AWS. Those companies have not just energy efficiency. They have energy components. They have utilities that are every bit as bigger and more sophisticated as any utility company that exists in the world. And that's because their new industry is energy and how they are now our direct competitors, even as a regulated monopoly. They're coming in, they're building generation, they're bringing demand side management programs. And what they also are doing, and if you read what's happening with AI and data centers, those are those companies. They are going to take more electricity and energy than this world has ever seen. And if you look in Virginia, just around Dulles Airport, fly into Dulles, all you see are warehouses, data centers. The amount of jobs, investment that it takes to build these centers that are going to do the AI training that really is going to be the next wave of innovation in this country, the amount of electricity is astounding. It takes more than a refinery to produce oil. And so going into these companies are highly sophisticated. It's a whole new world. And it's an opportunity for those of you who are just starting on in this industry on energy, to really be at the front end of what is going to, eventually we're all going to look back at this period of history and think about what we all accomplished. You know, I've been at my job in Energy for 25 years now. So when I think about the next 10 years, which will be, you know, the last half of my career, or quarter of my career, it's exciting. It'll be unlike anything I've ever seen. So, you know, I can't encourage you enough. I think energy is very exciting. I think it's often misunderstood if that must be oil and gas, and it absolutely is. And it absolutely is oil and gas. So happy to take questions. Turn it over to Yara.
Yeah, I can move on, and then we'll have time for Q&A. So thank you so much, Professor Beecham, for shared with us. All right, so let's talk about, thank you, Professor Connor, the energy certificate, specifically in steps that you would need to take to go ahead and pursue this area of academic interest. It's a very, you know, structured format that we have for you. Pretty straightforward. You know, you will start off with Energy 4100. This is just a popular course. And I want to say, generally speaking, BSM students who take energy courses really do have awesome feedback, and they find themselves wanting to take more courses, because I think, you know, they have expectations going in, and then once they experience and get the lessons and learn more about renewables, oil and gas, you know, utilities, it's like, this really is the way of the world, the way of the future, and a direction I'm enjoying going in. And so you would pick from the electives, you know, but it is a total of 12 credit hours, okay? You are welcome to do more than that if you want. It's fine. Sometimes when students complete their business requirements and their non-business requirements, you still might be a few credits short to get to the 122, right? Which is required for a BSM degree. So you are more than welcome to take more energy courses and really maximize your learning in the classroom. All right, so a few things we have to point out as we, you know, invite students to declare one of these certificates. So just like the other 3 certificates, there's energy, you will have to declare it. A few reasons why. So it'll help us keep up with the courses that are required for the certificate and what you need. It will be designated on your audit, so you can follow along yourself. If y'all know me, I am quick to say, follow your audit. Let's look at it together, because it spells out what your remaining requirements will be, okay? And then also it'll be noted on your final transcript that you have this certificate specifically in energy. So few things with that, working with your BSM counselor is important, just because not every course is offered in the fall, not every course is offered in the spring. We are privy to that information, and we'll be able to share it with you and plan accordingly. So if you're going into your spring semester of your junior year, right, and there's a course that's only offered in the fall, we need to make sure you're registered for that fall course, okay? And that's where we come in as your advisors to secure that seat for you, okay? So don't feel like you have to navigate any of this on your own. We're here, we do the hand holding, yes.
If I'm exchange student, I'm also eligible to declare, to receive a certificate.
So yes, you would work
Because-
with Mary in our, so you're a Freeman exchange student?
Yes, and I completed 4 energy courses.
Okay, okay, so yeah, we'll talk about that. And then do you know if it's actually shows on your audit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have all the information that I can provide.
Okay, great, great, great. And we'll get you squared away. No worries. That is perfect. Fortunately, you know, these courses can count towards your general business elective. So it's not any additional coursework. So students, BSM students have their business major that they have to declare. And of course, you have 4 courses or 12 credit hours worth of general business electives, these certificate courses can roll right into that, right? So no one should feel like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm a double major, and then I'm also environmental studies, and how can I make all this work? We will make it work for you, right? So it doesn't feel like an academic burden, you know, especially if this is an area you're genuinely interested in and you want to pursue, or you just want to explore. It excites you, you know, you're interested in it. It is only, again, 12 credit hours, so 4 courses. So we just want to make sure that you are meeting the program requirements and not taking a course you don't need. But let's say you took courses already, you know, there are opportunities for review, you know, to see what you did, even though we say no petitioning or substituting courses, you know, because moving forward, we want to make sure that students stick to the specific requirement courses for the program. Any questions here? It's pretty straightforward, you know. And so the big thing is that we just want to make sure that you are declaring the certificate of choice. And so you would contact your BSM counselor to say, you send an email like, I want to declare energy. And so we'll get you started and meet with you and talk details. Okay, so now is the Q&A. So feel free to ask these 2 experts any questions that you have or share feedback. We're so happy y'all are here and y'all are here as well.
So maybe I will ask. Because it's my last semester here, and I would want to expand my career in energy, or let's say future purpose of creating company that is associated with energy. And if I'm looking for a job, and do you have an open, you know, offices or anything that is associated with receiving a job here? As an energy or?
Yeah, so I mean, you can look at our website and I try to share postings as much as I can here, but you can certainly look at our website and we have openings all the time. We have our corporate offices are here in New Orleans, we're headquartered downtown. We also serve Mississippi, Arkansas, and then we have a big office in the Woodlands, Texas, which is north of Houston. And that's where a lot of our advanced economic planning, our trading desk is there. Some of our legal team. So yeah, we absolutely have openings and they're posted out there all the time.
And are these posts, yes, offices are open for international people or?
Yeah, we do sponsor. We have quite a few international employees, and so we do offer sponsorship. It's up to the hiring manager, but again,
Yeah,
we have a lot of international.
It's like that, it's not a requirement to be US citizen, yes?
No, it is not. We would sponsor you and provide your work visa, if you're selected as a candidate.
Okay.
No, it is a requirement that you work in one of our 4 states.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Or Washington DC, and I should mention that we do have a Washington DC office because we are federally regulated. So there's a federal policy team too. So.
And from your point of view, do you have any advices how to impress a hiring manager or to?
Yeah, and we were talking about that for a different reason. Every hiring manager is a little bit different. I mean, I think it's always important or helpful if you make a connection at the company that can help. I couldn't necessarily guarantee you a job, but I can assure you
yes.
the right person and provide advice. I had a student that was very excited about a job. They had applied for our company and, we sat down and talked and he went through his interests and his skills. And I said, I don't think you applied for the right job. This is not something you would be happy in. And let me tell you why, and you make that decision yourself. And so I think those connections are important for a lot of it. It's not just to steer your resume there, but also to steer you to the right position as well, because as we all know, jobs as they're described on a job description does not necessarily match what's actually going to take place. So yeah, I think that's always helpful as well, because there's a lot of applicants and you want to get your resume sort of shifted to the right person. If nothing more, just to make sure eyes get on.
Thank you very much. I'm satisfied with answer.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us. So you're in luck. This is all being recorded, but now we're on a Q&A portion. So feel free to jump in, ask any questions that you would like.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's like I thought 10:30, not 10, but
Fine.
I guess how did I think the energy sector is not one of the most common. So did you just like stumble into it?
How did you get involved in energy, Laura? That's a great
Yeah,
question.
yeah, you know, and so I had an
Think about it.
internship. Yeah, so I will be honest, I had an internship, 2 internships offered to me between my junior and senior year. One was here in New Orleans at Entergy, a public regulated electricity utility. The other one was not an energy and in the Midwest. And I had to make a decision. I wanted to spend my summer in New Orleans. I'll be very honest. I was, 20 years old. I thought it's a lot more fun just to stay here. Because I was studying at Tulane and I will be honest, there are points in my career when I thought, I'll get one more year of experience and I'll do something else. And honestly, the industry has changed so much and I've done a lot of different roles and I learn every hour of the day. I'm still learning. And 25 years later, I'm still at the same company. I've changed jobs. I think I've had 10 different roles. I tried to count the company in 25 years and it's exciting. It's interesting. And, I was sharing earlier that it's not just a utility that you work for. It's tech companies. It's your typical oil and gas companies. Everybody's a utility these days. So it's fascinating. It's in the headlines right now. Finally, when utilities and energy made news before, it wasn't always for the best reasons, but what's making news right now is what's happening and how the world's transitioning. And it's exciting. And I get bored very easily, quite honestly. Again, I'm an open book. So, and I've never been bored a day in my 25 years. And you meet a lot of fantastic people.
I think the point we were talking about earlier is it's an underpinning of everything you do. So there are people that are in the primary production of energy, right? That may be conventional or renewable. But there are people that are in the business of moving it as well or trading it. We have employers on campus from large power and commodity trading firms that are here to hire students. But also, and this point we made is that regardless of what you get involved in, you're also going to be aware of managing the use of your energy from here on out. That might have been something a decade ago, wasn't the forefront of a lot of people's mind, but every major company, small companies are thoughtful about their cost of energy and frankly, their footprint and their emissions. And there's going to be a significant amount of effort and investment in management of this energy transition. So it's going to be integrated in everything we do. You're right. I mean, it's not your high profile, like I'm going to go into energy, but there's a lot of, we were talking about, say, investment banking activity. Well, that's in the news. There's a lot of transactions that occur. It does grow faster than the rest of the economy because there's an effort, not just to manage the increase in energy demand use, but also an increase in energy efficiency and transition. So the job market grows pretty tremendously relative to being an understanding of energy.
And it really is in everything.
Yeah.
It's, to make this, name 10, it takes energy, right? There's a facility that produced the paper and, the desk, there's plastic in this desk, there's a chemical that produce that. The energy is infinite. You can think about it in so many different ways, but it's in literally everything we do, touch, see, feel, exciting. And the trading aspect too, I think we typically think about trading energy as well, of trading gas or trading electricity in wholesale markets, but it's also now a marketplace for renewable energy credits. There's now a marketplace for trading tax credits. And so there's so many aspects of what you can cover.
Even if you get into other industries, and I know we're talking about, we have certificates in sports and hospitality, those industries are going to be very aware of their energy use and their energy footprint. We have a firm that we work with, works on energy efficiency, and they have contracts with some of the largest stadiums in the country to manage their energy use and thoughtful about how that transition occurs too. So.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been talking about how broad the energy industry is. Does the certificate program here better prepare you for certain aspects of the industry rather than others?
No, that's great. And you could go back to the slide about the courses. One of the things that we've done in Freeman in the last 4 years that I've been here is to make sure that our program is comprehensive. So we've been heretofore known as a finance school and we built an accounting that's very strong. Then we built power and power trading. So this is somewhat unique that we have this focus on power and utilities here. But we also have added a renewable and sustainable trend towards some of these. So I think the answer is you can direct within energy your interest into, say, I want to do trading. And, Professor Beecham teaches power, electric power markets, and that's a great fit for that. Or we teach energy investment banking. So the answer is, you're right. I've said it's very broad and it's involved in everything that you're engaged in, but then you can begin to narrow that specific aspect of energy and show that you have that skill set to an employer. And also ensure that that is the direction you want to go to, right? Yeah, good question.
We also have the Energy Institute at Tulane. So as an additional resource that you can go to get that one-on-one, conversation and insight into opportunities.
Good point. We do have a fairly long-standing Energy Institute, which has like an energy club and does have 30 energy executives on our advisory board. And they're from all, aspects of energy that we talked about, whether it's finance or whether it's operations or whether it's power. And so those individuals help mentor and connect with students too.
I'll put in a plug. We have one of our energy grads from Freeman, who's also on the advisory board, speaking in the power trading class at 11 a.m.
That's right.
About, contracting for renewables and structuring deals. So I'll put in a plug if you'd like to meet someone that's going to be in the building here in the next little bit, and spending an hour and a half with some of our students.
She's also with a very large international power provider, electricity.
Are there any other questions before we wrap up?
Okay.
All right, well, thank you,
Thanks.
Professor Beecham, Professor Connor,
Yeah,
for your
no,
wealth of knowledge and just for making the world a better and more efficient place to live. Thank you all for joining us. And y'all are in luck also because we also have a Masters of Energy program at Freeman. And so these courses can count towards that graduate degree as well. So I'll leave y'all with that. Thank you very much. And so we'll have a reception in an atrium as well as the other certificates if you want to learn more.
Great.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Sarah.
all.
Thank you.